Once upon a time, in a village cradled by the fertile embrace of nature, lived Lila Merrin, a young woman with a heart as wild as the blossoming meadows that surrounded her home. The villagers often remarked on her kinship with the earth, sensing her spirit intertwined with the ancient traditions they revered yet feared. It was whispered among the townsfolk that the elder generations could coax the spirits of nature to aid their harvests. But those tales grew quieter with each passing year, replaced by caution and reticence. The stories of the forbidden ritual lingered like specters in the hearts of the villagers, fated to be recalled but never enacted. As Lila strolled through the bustling market square, she felt echoes of longing ripple through her veins. The vibrant stalls overflowed with ripe fruits, fragrant herbs, and colorful blooms, yet none of it captured her heart. Instead, her thoughts danced like fireflies around the old legends she had been raised on. What really happened during the ritual? She mused, glancing toward the distant forest where the ancient oak stood, a sentinel to forgotten truths. "Are you daydreaming again, Lila?" a familiar voice teased. There stood Finn Carver, her childhood friend, with his sandy blonde hair, tousled, and a mischievous grin on his face. His striking blue eyes sparkled with mischief, melting away the heaviness in her heart. "I swear one day you'll wander off into those woods and leave us mere mortals behind." "Maybe I will," she shot back playfully, but the hint of seriousness in her voice caught Finn's attention. "I feel like there's something more out there, Finn, something important that we're all missing." Finn's expression shifted, turning contemplative. "You mean the stories? I've heard them too, but I think you're getting swept up in old tales. The elders forbade the ritual for a reason, Lila. They lost friends, family, something went terribly wrong. Why would you want to dig that up?" Lila felt the flutter of uncertainty within her, but it mingled with an excitement that was hard to ignore. "Because I want to know who we are, Finn. And perhaps what went wrong can be put right." Her determination shone brightly, and after a moment's silence, Finn relented. "Well, if you're determined to go, I'm coming with you. Just promise me we won't get lost." That night, Lila and Finn prepared for their journey into the enchanted forest. With her heart racing, Lila packed a small satchel, a few herbs, an old book of her grandmother's with sketches of the spirits, and a vial of water from the sacred stream. Finn brought a few provisions and, amusingly, a torch. "Nothing says adventure like a flaming stick," he quipped, lifting the torch high as they crept into the twilight. The forest was alive, a symphony of crickets and rustling leaves that whispered its secrets. Shadows danced between the trees, and Lila felt every heartbeat in her chest like a drum, echoing with possibility. They wandered further, drawn to the ancient oak that rose before them, its gnarled limbs creating a natural cathedral where moonlight filtered through the leaves. As they approached the majestic tree, Lila's breath hitched. It felt alive, imbued with the stories of countless generations. "This is it, Finn," she breathed, awe filling her voice. "This is where it all happened." Finn marveled at the tree's grandeur, but could only manage a nervous chuckle. "I still don't like this idea much." With a firm resolve, Lila opened her grandmother's book and began to read aloud the invocation of the spirits, her voice reverberating through the night air. Finn's initial hesitation melted away, replaced by a sense of ritual that was deeply intoxicating. The world around them changed as the words danced into the grove, resonating with the roots of the mighty oak. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the clearing, rustling the leaves, wrapping Lila and Finn in a veil of whispers, a chorus of voices echoing the words they recited. "Lila!" Finn shouted, panic flickering within him as shadows coalesced, to create a veil beneath the ancient oak. "What's happening?" A surge of energy pulsed through Lila, tingling in her fingertips as she felt something profound and ancient awakening, the very essence of the forest itself stirring. Then the shadows twisted, curling and tangling into a form she could barely comprehend, filling the night with a haunting presence. But amidst the chaos, another voice joined the fray, an echo of warning intertwined with longing. Beware of what you awaken. Everything spiraled into darkness. Lila's heart raced as she realized the invocation had opened a passage they were never meant to breach. With a jolt, the world around her faded to black. When Lila opened her eyes, she found herself alone, her heart racing in the quiet aftershock of the night. The whispers hung heavily in the air as fear took root, wrapping around her like an unwelcome cloak. Little did she know, the spirit they had awakened would follow her home, forever altering the course of her life. This was only the beginning of a journey that would lead her down paths she had never imagined, where darkness awaited and light was yet to be reclaimed. The air crackled with an energy that felt both exhilarating and terrifying as Lila's heart raced. The shadows that had once danced harmlessly around the ancient oak now twisted and swirled like a living entity, their forms rippling in and out of focus. She strained her eyes, trying to discern the shapes that threatened to engulf her, a deep-seated fear gnawing at her thoughts. "Lila!" Finn's voice trembled, pulling her back from the brink of panic. "What are we going to do? We need to get out of here." But Lila felt an undeniable pull, an inexplicable connection to the ethereal chaos surrounding her. It was as if the voices whispered sacred truths, beckoning her to step closer and listen. "No, wait," she breathed, her voice barely above. A whisper. "I need to understand what's happening." The shadows surged forward, enveloping her like a cloak, causing Finn to shudder. "It's not safe. Whatever this is, it's angry." In that moment of turmoil, the ground beneath them trembled as an indistinct wail reverberated through the clearing. It was a sound that resonated deep within Lila's soul, echoing of loss, longing, and a darkness that threatened to consume everything. She stepped forward, driven by a primal curiosity that blurred the lines of reason. The whispers intensified, calling her name in a chorus of anguish and desire. "Please let me through," she pleaded, reaching out with trembling hands. The shadows hesitated, swirling more slowly around her as if gauging her intent. Lila closed, her eyes leaning into the energy, trying to decipher the messages sifting through the cacophony. Images flashed in her mind, flashes of joy and sorrow intertwined, familiar faces twisted in panic, and echoes of laughter that morphed into screams. With each breath, she felt herself tethering between two worlds, the living and the lost. "Lila, come back," Finn shouted, panic bleeding into his words. Realizing she was teetering into realms unknown, he rushed forward, grabbing her arm with pleading strength. "You can't do this! We need to go now!" A moment of clarity pierced through the disarray. Lila jerked back to reality, breathless and wide-eyed. "No, wait! I can feel them, Finn. They just want to be heard." But as she said the words, the shadows roared, unleashing a gale that sent Finn staggering backward. Lila found her footing, a surge of determination rising within her. "I can help them! I need to..." Suddenly, the shadows coalesced into a singular form, a spectre draped in darkness with glistening eyes mirroring the depths of despair. It hovered before her, its voice a haunting whisper that cut through the chaos. "You have awakened us, child, but beware, for we are bound by sorrow." Lila's heart raced, a mingling of fear and empathy coursing through her veins. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. I just wanted to understand your pain." The spectre tilted its head, a hint of recognition flickering in its otherworldly gaze. "Understanding comes with a cost. To bear witness to our truth, you must be willing to confront your own." Finn stumbled to Lila's side, wide-eyed, and gripping her arm tightly. "What does that mean? Lila, you can't trust this thing." Before Lila could respond, the spectre lifted a translucent hand, and the forest around them morphed into a whirlwind of colors, merging with vivid memories. Memories that felt all too familiar, yet shrouded in mystery. Lila was suddenly thrust into visions of her village. Her family gathered around a feast of joy. Faces glimmered with laughter, dancing children playing in the sunlight. But without warning, the atmosphere shifted. The laughter morphed into panic, and shadows encroached upon their warmth, ripping apart the fabric of peace. "No! Stop!" Lila cried out, desperately trying to retrieve the joyous moment from the turbulent maelstrom. She could see her ancestors' shadows falling into despair, their gratitude turned to unease, their prayers met with silence. The spectre loomed closer, its voice deepening with urgency. "Do you see, child? We were once anointed protectors, guardians of balance. But greed and miscommunication led to our suffering. A ritual to honor us became a curse. Can you break the cycle?" "Break the cycle?" Lila echoed, confusion flooding her thoughts. The pain of the past pressed down on her, igniting a desperate yearning to heal the wounds. But how could she, young and inexperienced, take on such a burden? With a rush of clarity, she turned to Finn, who still stood rooted in disbelief. "We can help them. We need to unravel what went wrong in the past. It's not just about appeasing them, it's about understanding their sorrow so they can finally find peace." Finn's face contorted with doubt. "Lila, we can't just one-off fix something that's gone so wrong. These spirits, they're angry." But the deep, pained eyes of the spectre calmed her fears. "If you wish to mend the rift, you must gather the courage to delve into the truth of your lineage. Face the rituals of old with honesty." Trembling at the thought, Lila knew the darkness that followed her now bore a purpose. This awakening of shadows heralded her journey into understanding not only the ancients, but herself. "I will do it," Lila vowed, grounding herself before the beloved spectre of the past. "I'll face whatever truths await and mend the broken bond. You have my word." As the shadows receded, leaving only a trace of their discontent, Lila felt a weight shift. Within her, the night air lightened, freeing them from the spiraling chaos. But she understood that her journey had only just begun. Finn stared at her, and despite his hesitation, a glimmer of admiration broke through his concern. "I suppose if you're determined to face your family's ghosts, I'm in too, but we should go and see Elder Inara. She'll know what to do." Lila nodded, bolstered by her friend's loyalty. Together, they would journey through darkness to illuminate a path for the ancient spirits and mend the ties that had long since frayed. With uncertainty swirling around them, they stepped into the future, bold, unyielding, and entwined with destiny. The village seemed altered in the light of dawn, shaken from slumber, yet untouched by the brewing storm within Lila. As she walked through the cobblestone streets, familiar households and flower-filled gardens appeared less welcoming. The disconnect was palpable. What once felt vibrant now echoed with an unsettling silence, a reminder that she was no longer the carefree girl who traversed these paths. Finn walked beside her, his expression a mixture of concern and determination. "Are you sure you want to do this?" he asked softly, glancing at the square where villagers began their morning routines. "What if the elders refuse to help?" Lila tightened her grip on the satchel slung over her shoulder. Inside, her heart beat frantically, a drum echoing her fears. "I can't ignore what happened. The shadows, the spirits, they're tied to us. We owe it to them to find answers." She inhaled deeply, steeling her resolve. "Besides, I can't face this alone." They approached the village center, where Elder Inara's cottage stood at the edge, draped in an aura of wisdom and age. Heavy wooden beams framed the windows, while climbing ivy painted it green, as if the forest itself had claimed an allegiance to the wise woman within. Despite her hesitation, Lila felt a flicker of hope as she knocked on the weathered door. Elder. Inara opened it with a creak, her silver hair cascading like streams of moonlight. "Lila, Finn," she greeted, her tone revealing both welcome and scrutiny. "What troubles you at this hour?" "Elder Inara," Lila began, her voice trembling with the weight of her words. I've awakened something in the forest. The spirits of the past. They're restless and I need your guidance." Inara's eyes narrowed, a depth of understanding unfolding within them. "The spirits, you say? It is a dangerous course you tread, child. We have to understand what went wrong," Lila pressed, losing herself in the depths of the elder's gaze. "I saw their pain, their memories, their suffering because we forgot them." The elder motioned them inside, her manner shifting, from custodian of rules to a vessel of stories long held. The humble interior of the cottage was lined with shelves filled with herbs, books, and relics of the village's past. A wooden table, polished by years of service, bore witness to many gatherings of wisdom. Lasler and Finn sat across from Inara, her gaze unwavering. "Each generation must wrestle with the shadows of its predecessors," she spoke, her voice resonating with authority. "You ventured into the depths of what was forbidden, and now you seek the path of resolution." Finn shifted, uncertainty shadowing his features. "What if it leads to more trouble? We're not prepared for this, Elder." "Darkness dwells where light is absent, young man. To heal the wound, one must have the courage to confront both, the past and their own heart." "Lila, what do you feel you must uncover?" Lila drew in a breath, her heartbeat relentless. "The truth of the ritual. What caused it to fail? I need to know if the villagers were to blame or if it was the spirits." Calling back for attention, Inara studied her, pride mingling with concern. "There lies a well of pain in the memories of your people. The rituals once sacred fell victim to misunderstanding and fear. If you wish to restore harmony, you must delve into that past." "What do we need to do?" Lila asked, urging the elder to illuminate a path. "With each spirit there comes a story," Inara instructed, her eyes gleaming. "You must gather the collective memories of those who have suffered, voices that may have remained silent. Before the next moon rises, confront the shadows of that ritual and uncover the truth through their eyes." Finn leaned back, the enormity of it settling over them. "But how? How do we speak to spirits that were lost?" Inara smiled, a hint of mischief lighting her countenance. "You must return to the forest, to the old oak. Listen for the songs of the past, and let your heart guide you. The whispers hold the key to understanding what happened that fateful night." Gratitude mixed with trepidation washed over Lila. "We will do it," she vowed. "We'll return to the oak and find a way to connect. We have to heal the pain." With a gesture, Inara withdrew a small, shimmering stone from a small pouch at her side. "Take this, a spirit stone. It may guide your way and grant passage to the echoes you seek. But remember, the truth may not be easy to bear. We often shun what reveals our faults." The weight of the stone felt heavy in Lila's palm, yet it resonated with warmth. She clutched it tightly, a new resolve forming like the dawn, breaking through an oppressive night. As they stepped out of the cottage, the sun hung high, illuminating the path leading back to the forest. Lila's heart was laden with duality. The weight of survival mingled with the hope that healing was not a solitary journey, but a shared endeavor among the living and the lost. With each step toward the ancient oak, Lila knew that the encounter ahead would demand not just her courage, but also the connections forged within her community. For only together could they transcend the shadows of their past and unite the worlds they once divided. What if we don't find what we need? Finn asked, the sunlight catching his features, revealing glimmers of fear and doubt. Lila turned to him, meeting his concern with fortitude. We will. We'll face whatever shadows linger in the forest. We owe it to them and to ourselves to dig into the stories that have shaped us. It's time they were heard. As they approached the focal point of their destiny, Lila cast a glance at the calm surface of the lake glistening beneath the sun's embrace, knowing that within its depths lay reflections of the truth waiting to unfold. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the village as Lila and Finn made their way to the enchanted forest, each step echoing their resolve. The air felt charged with anticipation, as if the very woods were aware of their intention. With the spirit stone tucked securely in Lila's satchel, they approached the ancient oak, a monument to the echoes of the past. "What if we don't find anything?" Finn murmured as they neared the clearing. "What if the spirits refuse to talk?" Lila paused, her fingers brushing against the rough bark of the oak, feeling its centuries of wisdom seep into her being. "Then we'll make ourselves heard. We can't let fear stop us now." Drawing in a breath, she urged him forward. Once, in the clearing, they watched the shadows of the great oak dance in the dappled sunlight, the spirit stone pulsing gently within her satchel, a heartbeat of its own. Lila stepped forward, feeling drawn to the spot where she and Finn had awakened the dark presence. "We need to honor them first," she whispered, recalling Elder Anara's sage advice. "Acknowledge their suffering before we ask for anything." "In return," Finn nodded, his uncertainty giving way to purpose. They knelt at the foot of the ancient tree, and Lila closed her eyes. "Spirits of the forest, we come in respect," she called, her voice steady. "We seek to know your truths and to mend the rift caused by our ancestors. We wish to hear your stories." A moment of silence fell, and for a heartbeat Lila wondered if they had made a mistake. But then the wind picked up, swirling through the branches above, carrying with it a soft, melodic whisper, an ethereal hum that made the very air tingle with anticipation. "Listen," Finn breathed, awed. "What do we have to do?" Lila asked, her heart racing as the whispers grew stronger. "Can we hear them?" "In your heart, you must draw the stories of those lost to their silence." A voice echoed, soft yet powerful. The leaves trembled as if sharing secrets, while the shadows deepened around them. Lila opened her eyes, squinting into the flickering light. Before them, a figure emerged from the shadows, somber and elegant, its form woven from shadows and light. It hovered, adorned in wispy tendrils of mist that swirled like thoughts lost to time. Lila recognized it, the specter from the night of the awakening. "Why do you seek us?" The spirit spoke, its voice a haunting melody weaving through the air. "Do you understand the weight of your ancestors' choices?" Lila's heart quickened, knowing she stood before the embodiment of their past. "I've seen fragments," she admitted, gaze steady. "I know there was pain. I want to understand what drove you to darkness. We cannot heal without knowing." The spirit regarded her, its eyes reflecting ancient sorrow. "You honor our pain. We are the remnants of those who once lived in harmony with the earth, who were betrayed by fear and misunderstanding." Lila leaned forward, every fiber of her being poised to absorb the spirit's tale. "Tell me, what happened?" "Our stories were sacred," the spirit began, every word layered with history. "We offered our lives to protect the land, guiding and aiding those who sought our wisdom. But ambition clouded judgment. Rituals were twisted into gatherings of greed and desperation. Your people sought power, not understanding. They lost sight of the balance." Finn's voice broke into the conversation, filled with curiosity. "But not all of them, right? Some wanted to honor you, some loved the earth. Those were the ones who suffered most," the spirit lamented. The innocent were silenced, their voices swallowed by the chaos. The ones who remembered faded, and the connection grew weak. Only anger remains. Lila felt a cold touch of fear creeping beneath her skin. Is this what we awaken? The pain still lives within? Can we break it? The spirit tilted its head, mist swirling enigmatically around its form. You seek to heal the rift, yet each truth you learn may deepen the sorrow of your heart. Knowledge comes with a cost. Are you willing to bear it? I am, Lila began, but Finn interrupted, concern etched on his face. What does that mean, cost? We're only trying to help. The spirit regarded them both, gauging their commitment. To mend the bonds of past and present, you must draw forth the memories of your people, gather their stories, confront their fears, and face the shadows they've buried. Only then can the spirits find peace, and the living reclaim their legacy. What if they are unwilling to let go? Lila asked, the weight of responsibility settling heavily on her shoulders. There lies the essence of healing. The spirit replied, understanding that true peace comes not from forgetting, but facing what once was. You are the bridge between worlds, ephemeral children. You must carry each memory with love and humility. With that, the spirit began to dissipate, its form entwining with the winds that rustled the oak's leaves. Seek the voices of your community, it murmured as it faded into whispers. Let them find strength in the stories that bind you. Finn shifted beside Lila, processing the enormity of their task. So we need to talk to the villagers about this. All of it? Lila nodded, her heart racing with anticipation and trepidation. We have to. Nobody can heal alone. They have to know they aren't alone in their pain. But where do we start? Finn asked, worry creeping into his voice. Lila stared deep into the heart of the ancient oak, gathering her thoughts. We start with those who remember. Anara spoke of the eldest in the village, those who recall the old ways, the ones who might still carry their burdens. They might have cherished or lost connections we need to share. Determination filled her. With each word spoken under the ancient oak, the path became clearer. They would gather the stories of their people, confront the truth that had long festered within the shadows, and piece together the memories that could weave the fabric of understanding once more. As they stepped away from the oak, Lila felt a surge of strength flowing through her. She was no longer simply the curious girl from the village. She was a voice for the forgotten, a torchbearer for the memories that sought to resurface. It was up to them to awaken those lost to pain and reclaim the tales of love that had been overshadowed by fear. Gathering courage from the whispers of the forest, Lila turned toward the village. She was ready to confront the heart of wisdom, as daunting as it may be, and unveil the truth hidden in the depths of their shared histories. Together, they would emerge stronger, breaking the chains of silence that had bound them for so long. The village bustled with life as Lila and Finn prepared for the task ahead. Excitement and anxiety coiled within Lila's chest like a spring ready to unleash all its energy. It was time to reach out to the souls of her ancestors, to connect the living with those trapped in the shadows of memory. They decided to begin their quest at the community gathering hall, a simple structure woven from oak and set under the shade of elder trees. The hall had served as a meeting place for generations, where the village shared news, stories, and traditions. It was there, amidst the echoes of laughter and sorrow, that they would find the voices they sought. Do you really think they'll want to talk about it, Lila? Finn asked as they approached the entrance, casting nervous glances at the gathering villagers inside. This is a tough thing to face. They need to understand, Lila replied, determined. They might not even realize how much this has affected them. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the heavy door open, the creaking wood heralding their presence. Inside, villagers filled the hall, chatting and sharing warm meals. The scent of herbs filled the air, wrapping around them like a comforting embrace, but Lila felt a knot of tension form. She scanned the room until her gaze landed on Elder Anara seated at the head table. "We need to talk to everyone," Lila said, her heart steadying. As they approached Anara, Lila noticed the way the elder's keen eyes sparkled with understanding. "Lila, Finn," Anara greeted, her voice a soothing melody that cut through the clamor. "You carry the weight of those spirits, don't you? The time has come to share what you've learned." "Elder Anara," Lila began, steeling her resolve, "we've come to realize that the darkness surrounding the ritual isn't just about the past. It's tied to us. The spirits of our ancestors are restless, and we need to confront their pain to heal ourselves." Anara nodded solemnly as murmurs spread through the crowd, curiosity mingling with apprehension. Lila took a breath and stepped onto a small platform. At the edge of the hall, her heart pounding. "Everyone," Lila called, her voice ringing clear and steady. The room quieted as heads turned toward her. "We need to talk about the forbidden ritual." An uneasy silence fell. Lila glanced at Finn, who stood beside her, a reassuring presence in a sea of uncertainty. "I know that many of you have heard the stories about how it went wrong and why it was abandoned, but the pain it has caused is still with us, and we can't let fear shape our future." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Their apprehensive expressions mirrored the shadows that clung to her heart. "Please let me share what I experienced," she continued, infused with courage. "Spirits from the forest awakened in our presence, and they spoke of betrayal and loss." "Lila, you were there?" A voice erupted from the crowd. It belonged to Mara, an elder woman known for her wisdom. "You saw the spirits?" Lila nodded. "Yes. I learned that the spirits were once protectors, generous and wise, but misconceptions turned our traditions into darkness. We need to reclaim the stories of our ancestors to heal the rift." Another villager, Thomas, rose, doubt hanging heavily on his words, but confronting those past hurts could hurt us further. Why should we dig up that pain? If we remain silent, it will only grow, Lila replied, her heart racing. The whispers of the spirits won't fade until they are heard. We must honor their memories and rebuild what has been broken. A hush enveloped the crowd as they processed her words. An uneasy tension lingered, but the flicker of hope sparked within their eyes. "We should listen, Thomas," Anara interjected, wise and unwavering. "Lila and Finn are right. True healing cannot come from ignoring the past. Remember our losses and honor our ancestors. These stories shape our lives. But how can we confront what we fear most?" Another voice questioned from the back, laced with anxiety. Anara met the gaze of each villager before her. "By embracing it together, today we become bridges. Between our world and the spirits, Lila, Finn, will guide us as we share our truths." "Together," Lila echoed, her heart swelling with determination. "We must remember those we lost and acknowledge how our fears have shaped our lives. Let us gather here, share our stories, both painful and joyful, so their burdens can be lifted." Slowly, a few villagers began to rise, sharing their own experiences, speaking the names of lost family members. Each story added depth and texture to the rich tapestry of their community's history, and the once muted voices resonated with strength. "Last winter, I lost my brother to despair," shared an older man named Ryan, his voice trembling. "He felt he had no place among us, that our tradition had become a burden. I never realized how deeply he had suffered until it was too late." The room collectively sighed, feeling the weight of lost possibilities and unspoken truths. Lila noted Finn's clenched jaw as Ryan's story unfolded. It echoed the sentiments he had carried silently, revealing the scars of ghosts haunting not only their spirits, but their hearts. With each story shared, the air in the hall shifted, charged with empathy and solidarity. The barriers that once separated the villagers from their ancestors seemed to wane as heartfelt confessions bridged generations of silent suffering. As the room filled with voices, Lila could hear the spirits echoing their own stories within the walls of the hall. Each shared moment resonated in harmony with the lives once lived, intertwining sorrow and resilience as they transformed darkness into light. The stories wove a living connection, stitching together the past, present, and future. The villagers began to raise their heads and look at one another with newfound courage. They shared joys and mourning alike, forging bonds that transcended fear and despair. When the last story was shared, silence washed over the gathering once more, pregnant with solemn understanding. It was a silence imbued with healing as each villager recognized their place in the vast tapestry of their shared history. "Thank you for letting me speak," Lila said softly, her heart swelling with gratitude. "You've embraced the power of your own stories. Together we can now heal. Mending begins now," Elder Anara concluded, beaming at the strength in every face around her. "We carry the wisdom of those who have come before us. Their voices and stories will guide us forward. Together, we shall break the chains of the past and reclaim our truths." As the gathering drew to a close, Lila felt a profound shift within her. The weight of the world had begun to lift. They had become a community of voices united, bridging the living and the lost. The path forward sparkled with potential, woven in shared history and the bonds of a newfound understanding. As they stepped out into the fresh air, the horizon felt different. Lila dared to believe that healing was not just a possibility. It was a promise waiting to be fulfilled, paving the way for a future where laughter sang alongside the echoes of the past. They would work together, spirits and villagers alike, to reclaim the harmony that had been so freely lost. A glowing ember of hope illuminated the village as dawn broke, scattering the shadows that had lingered for too long. Lila stood by her window, her heart fluttering with anticipation. The stories of the past shared in the gathering hall had woven a tapestry of resilience and understanding, but now the true test lay ahead. Today, they would honor their ancestors and reclaim the long-abandoned ritual. Clutching the spirit stone, Lila felt its warm energy pulse in her palm. It was a reminder of the spirit's presence and the promise they made to confront the grief that had stained their history. Beside her, Finn adjusted the satchel slung over his shoulder, his face reflecting the same mixture of determination and uncertainty. "Are you ready for this?" he asked, his tone a blend of encouragement and apprehension. "I have to be," Lila replied, her voice steady. "We've come so far together, and now it's time to take the final step." She turned to him, a smile breaking through her resolve. "We can do this. We're not alone in this anymore." "They've come together," Finn mused. "The more people who remember, the stronger we'll be." As they made their way toward the enchanted forest, flashes of memories danced in Lila's mind. The pain of past failures was still vivid, but with each step, it was accompanied by the empowerment of understanding. The gathering had sparked kindling in the hearts of their community, igniting their collective strength. Once they reached the ancient oak, Lila felt the weight of the past settle in. The tenacious energy of the spirits swirled around them. There, whispers beckoning Lila closer, pulling her deeper into the sacred space that became hallowed ground. "Let's prepare the clearing," Lila said, her voice a mere whisper beneath the canopy of leaves. "We have to create a space for the ritual." They set to work, clearing away debris and laying out fresh herbs from Lila's garden, representing healing and connection. Finn placed stones in a circle around them, forming a protective boundary that would hold their intentions and amplify the energy of their gathering. Once ready, Lila took a deep breath and faced the ancient oak, the gleaming spirit stone held tightly in her hand. "Spirits of my ancestors, we are here to honor you," she called, her voice resonating with sincerity. "We come today to reclaim our bond with you, to continue the cycle of life and healing that has been broken for too long." In response, a soft wind stirred among the leaves, bringing with it a familiar whisper. "Child of the living, you have come seeking the truth. Do you not fear what you may unveil?" "I fear the pain of losing my way," Lila replied, the echoes of uncertainty threaded along her words. "But we cannot heal what we refuse to face. The ties that bind us must be honored." "Then let us gather," the spirit intoned, and the air around them shimmered with vibrant energy as the spirits of the past began to coalesce. Lila glanced toward Finn, and in that moment, she saw the quiet determination in his eyes. He understood. "We stand together," she affirmed, her voice strong. "Each story shared, every bond renewed, will stitch together our fractured history." One by one, the villagers trickled into the clearing, drawn by the energy thrumming through the woods. They stood behind Lila and Finn, feeling the anticipation swell as they gathered with purpose in a circle formed beneath the ancient oak. Inara appeared last, her presence commanding yet serene. "Together, we will honor our ancestors by recognizing their sacrifices and renewing our commitment to one another," she declared, her voice uniting the crowd. "We will reclaim the beauty of the past, acknowledging both the light and the darkness that it brings." Finn led them in a gentle chant, inviting those who had come to share the names of their ancestors. One by one, the villagers spoke out, their voices merging into a harmonious symphony that stitched the threads of history together. Every name breathed life into the memories, reviving the stories long buried in silence. "Elder, who cherished the earth," a woman named Nessa shared, her voice trembling with emotion. "She taught us to listen to the wind." The echoes of her words reverberated through the clearing, wrapping around Lila like a warm embrace. "Jarek, who mended the rifts," an old man added, his voice deep and powerful. "He taught us that healing begins within." As the names and memories flowed, Lila felt a palpable shift. The air thickened with compassion and understanding. The spirit stone in her hand began to glow brighter, adding warmth and illumination to their surroundings. "Now we must ask for their guidance," Lila said, feeling the weight of the moment. "Together, we must embrace both our past and our future, recognizing the strength gained from our connection." With that, she raised the spirit stone, and the villagers followed her lead, raising their hands in solidarity. "Spirits of our ancestors, guide us. Grant us your wisdom so we may." We forge ahead. Daniel, a shy, soft-spoken man, stepped forward. "Please show us the truth of your pain so we can build a future free from fear. We acknowledge our mistakes and wish to honor you by carrying your stories forward." As the villagers echoed his sentiments, the ground beneath them began to pulse as energy swirled, connecting them all. The gentle light expanded into a radiant aura that enveloped the gathering, revealing flickering images of their ancestors, faded specters moving in a dance of reconciliation. Lila felt the warmth of each spirit as they circulated around them, ancient wisdom radiating through her. She began to see glimpses of their stories. The joy and laughter mingled with pain, highlighting the vibrant fabric of their shared history. A vision flooded her mind. Shadows faded to reveal a vibrant festival, a celebration of community, the very essence of what they had lost. Laughter rang through the air, creating melodies that intertwined with the tales of loss shared just moments before. The whirlwind of images danced before her, pulsing like waves of energy. In that moment, Lila understood. Healing was not merely about erasing pain, but about embracing it, recognizing that love and loss were intertwined, a dance that defined their existence as a community. As the last echoes faded, the light surrounding the gathering dimmed gently, yet left a lingering warmth, binding them all together in a newfound commitment. The villagers opened their eyes, transformed, as if a shroud of fear had lifted. In the quiet that followed, Lila turned to her friends and neighbors, feeling the collective strength that connected them. "We are their legacy," she declared, her voice steady, "and we shall honor our ancestors by sharing their stories, keeping their memories alive within us. Together, we build a bridge between our worlds, weaving tales of compassion, understanding, and love." The villagers nodded, their eyes shining with a sense of purpose. The ties that bound them had become threads of unity, forever weaving together the past, present, and future. As they gathered their belongings, Lila felt a sense of peace wash over her, a promise etched in the foundation of their shared history. They would forge ahead, guided by the wisdom and love of those who came before, ready to embrace their future with open hearts and unyielding strength. United, they stepped toward the village hand in hand, knowing that the journey of healing was just beginning. The shadows of the past had been acknowledged, and together they had crafted a tapestry of love and resilience that would carry them forward, uniting their spirits for generations to come.